Endings can either make or break a movie, and for some people, it's hard to accept if a movie doesn't end on a happy note. For scary movies, nobody knows exactly how a horror film can end because it could go either way, and sometimes there are even plot twists that just throw everything off. But some endings are so frightening that they end up leaving viewers with nightmares for days. Welcome to Trending Ticket, and today we're going on a movie marathon where we watch the top 10 scariest movie endings. If you're a horror movie fan, you're going to get a kick out of this, and if not, well, just stick around for number 1 because we have quite the list to drop. Oh, and a spoiler alert is definitely appropriate here, so consider yourself warned. Number 10. The Invitation. We start this off at number 10 with a 2015 American horror film titled The Invitation. The story follows Will and Eden, who used to be in a romantic relationship, but because of a tragedy, their son passed away and Eden leaves. 2 years after the incident, Eden comes back with a new husband and she seems the complete opposite of how she was before, being all happy and eager to make amends with the people she left behind by inviting them to a dinner party. But Will suspects that something is going on, and mounting evidence shows that Eden and her new friends might have a terrifying agenda. By the last third of the film, Eden and her new husband are actively trying to murder the people at their dinner party and eventually kill themselves in a murder-suicide due to a mysterious spiritual group that they've joined. The ending comes with a twist that makes things even more complicated and unnerving. The Invitation is considered one of the greatest horror films this decade, and one of the things that make it pop is the horrifying plot twist that leads to the equally scary ending. The Invitation is truly terrifying, but we have more coming up on this list, so stay tuned for the scariest movie ending ever. Number 9. The Mist. At number 9 on this list is a film based on the 1980 Stephen King novella of the same name. The Mist is primarily a monster movie, but its main theme explores the drastic measures that ordinary people take when faced with extreme conditions. The film follows residents of Bridgeton, Maine, who congregate in a supermarket to gather supplies following the aftermath of a severe thunderstorm. The power goes out and they are stuck in the building and must struggle for survival as an unusual mist surrounds the town and hides the Lovecraftian monsters. Not only that, they must also deal with the growing tensions among themselves. The group comes to a point where they must decide if getting killed by the monsters is better than dying by their own hands. Ultimately, they elect David Drayton, the protagonist, to shoot all of them as an act of mercy. The victims include David's son, who is 8 years old. Just as soon as David kills everyone in the group, including his young son, members of a rescue team arrive, and David comes to the terrifying realization that had they waited a bit longer, everything would have turned out alright in the end. The shocking end to the film shows David as he screams out in madness and frustration. The ending of The Mist is proof that not all scary endings have to be about the visuals. Sometimes it's the crushing feeling of guilt and regret because of irreversible decisions that make the film even scarier. Number 8. Us. Taking number 8 on this list is Jordan Peele's slasher horror titled Us, which follows Adelaide Wilson and her family as they are attacked by a group that suspiciously resembles them in appearance. It is not clear whether the events portrayed in the film are a result of a long-buried trauma that Adelaide has and is only now resurfacing, but the family is sent off into a post-apocalyptic ride into a world where everyone is being murdered by their doppelgangers. The film ends on a surprise note when it is revealed that Adelaide is Red, and that Red is Adelaide, and that they had switched places when they were little girls. Jason's son seems to have realized this earlier on when he sees something in his mother's eyes. Jason's worried face is the last thing viewers see before the scene cuts to the hills surrounding Santa Cruz as hundreds of the clones from a massive human chain. Jordan Peele's masterpiece teases viewers in various ways and fills in clues that may or may not lead to the right answers, which is why the ending may have been something that no one expected, but it is nonetheless scary. Number 7. The Cabin in the Woods. Coming in at number 7 is the 2011 film The Cabin in the Woods. The story is about college students who go to a remote forest cabin which, unknown to them, is full of zombies. Meanwhile, someone in an underground facility is controlling the events that occur one by one in the film. The film is an exploration of the meta-horror genre, and at first it gives the impression that it's just your average slasher film where a bunch of college students go off into a remote cabin only to be slaughtered at the hands of some crazed killer. However, don't be fooled because The Cabin in the Woods has twists on top of twists particularly when one of the kids performs a ritual and it goes horribly wrong. Surviving members of the college group manage to infiltrate the underground lab and unleash all the monsters from the horror rituals. In this final scene, the film goes beyond the theme of slaughtering innocent young people and goes for the death of everyone involved, including the bad guys. Did The Cabin in the Woods scare you for life? Well, watch out for number 1 on this list because it's infinitely scarier.
Oh, come on.
Number 6. You're Next. A 2011 American slasher film enters this list at number 6. You're Next follows a family who is being attacked by a group of masked assailants while they're on their wedding anniversary getaway. While the opening scenes of the movie seem quite the norm with a Scream-style murder, the scene then cuts to a large country state where a millionaire couple and their 4 children are preparing for a weekend celebration. Their happy get-together is interrupted by the arrival of a group of masked men who are armed with crossbows and machetes. The intruders then go ahead and systematically murder the family one by slicing and dicing them up. The film has a shocking ending where one unlucky cop steps on the booby trap set up by the remaining survivor of the family, Aaron. The trap was meant for one of the intruders, but finds an unlikely victim in the police officer who thinks that Aaron is one of the culprits when he sees her shoot her boyfriend, Crispian. The film ends with the credits showing a picture of a dead Aaron who has a bullet hole in her head, while the backup officers arrive thinking that she was behind the murders of the family and the other officer, creating one creepy twist of fate that's almost macabre in nature. Number 5. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Fifth on this list is Bram Stoker's Dracula, which follows the infamous Count Dracula reimagined as a 15th century prince who is sentenced to live off the blood of living beings for eternity. Jonathan Harker is a young lawyer who goes to Dracula's castle to finalize some legal papers. What is supposed to be a smooth deal hits a wall when Dracula sees a picture of Mina, Harker's fiancée who resembles Dracula's dead wife, Elisabetta. Francis Ford Coppola adapted Bram Stoker's novel in a way that was both memorable yet still paid homage to the novel's sexual themes and operatic style of storytelling. The film ends on a gruesome note as Dracula is stabbed in the heart and gets decapitated. While gory and probably too graphic for some viewers, the ending is quite beautiful and symbolic as the death of Dracula means that he and his wife Elisabetta are finally reunited after several centuries. Number 4. Phenomena. A 1985 Italian horror film takes number 4 on this list. Phenomena focuses on a girl who attends an isolated Swiss boarding school. The girl finds out that she has psychic abilities which give her the ability to talk to insects. She uses these newfound powers to hunt down a serial killer who has been going around the school butchering young women. The ending of the film begins as a standard supernatural thriller finale, but takes a terrifying turn when a series of horrors lead the protagonist into a pool full of decaying corpses, after which she meets the deformed son of the serial killer. The girl escapes the pool of death and thereafter witnesses a decapitation by a metal sheet. The final showdown between the girl and the serial killer then begins, and the girl, Jennifer, seems to be on the losing end when an unlikely hero arrives in the form of Inga, a friendly chimp who comes to Jennifer's rescue by killing the serial killer with a straight razor. In essence, the movie ends on quite the unpredictable ending where a chimpanzee gets the final word and kills off the bad guy. That's pretty creepy. Number 3. The Wicker Man. The Wicker Man takes number 3 on this list as a 1973 British folk horror film. It focuses on Police Sergeant Neil Howie, who goes to an isolated island named Summer Isle to investigate the case of a missing girl. Howie is horrified to discover that residents of the island have stopped believing in Christianity and have converted to a form of Celtic paganism. He also discovers that the girl he is searching for is not the human sacrifice that he thought she would be, and finds himself shoved into a giant Wicker Man statue. Howie is set on fire and he screams in horror while reciting a chapter from the Book of Psalm before cursing the islanders as he burns to death. The film plays out into some sort of dream as it focuses on characters who are living an entirely different reality. Howie makes headway into the villagers' delusions and seems to be on the right path to shattering their false beliefs, but the film ends on a haunting image as the protagonist loses and leaves viewers horrified yet spellbound. Number 2. Carrie, 2013. Number 2 on this list is the third adaptation of the Stephen King 1974 novel. The The 2013 film is the third film adaptation of the novel and the fourth in the Carrie franchise. It offers a modern perspective to King's novel, which is about a shy girl who has telekinesis but uses it for destructive means after she is ruthlessly pranked at senior prom. The ending of the movie follows Sue Snell, who is one of the teenagers who pranked Carrie but is regretful of her actions and makes amends. Sue goes to Carrie's grave and the scene is eerily peaceful, concluded, and calm. All seems to be heading to a fitting ending for the disturbed teenager, but as Sue leaves after placing white flowers on Carrie's grave, the twist comes in the form of the grave breaking while Carrie's loud scream sounds off in the distance. The ending leaves a sense of nagging weirdness and strange feelings as what was supposed to be a closed chapter seems to be, well, not really closed. Number 1. The Shining. Rounding up this list at number 1 is the classic 1980s psychological horror film titled The Shining. Based on the Stephen King novel of the same name, the Stanley Kubrick film tells the story of an aspiring writer named Jack Torrance who moved his family to the Overlook Hotel to become the hotel's off-season caretaker while writing his book at the same time. Unbeknownst to the family, the hotel is haunted by some pretty dark secrets while Torrance's young son, Danny, has psychic abilities that seem to trigger the events in the film. The supernatural forces mess with Jack's mind and the safety of his family, and the ending is quite the twist. Thoroughly possessed by something evil, Jack chases his son through a hedge maze while his wife Wendy has hallucinations of her own. She sees ghosts, a river of blood, and a corpse. Meanwhile, Danny manages to get Jack off his track by laying out a false trail, and eventually he escapes and reunites with his mother. They both leave in a snowcat and leave Jack to freeze to death. Sounds gruesome, right? But the real catch to this ending is in a photograph that is displayed in the hotel's hallways, where Jack is pictured among partygoers from 1921. Yet the events of the film take place in late 1970s. The film is considered a horror cinema masterpiece with its iconic ending, which has inspired many conspiracy theories and explanations. That's pretty tough to do for a film that's full of ambiguities. Which of these scary endings creeped you out? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, then head on over to our other video on the top 10 giant monster movies. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell because we have a lot more videos coming out.